Hello. I have not filmed a sit-down video like this in so long, so yeah, let's get started. It is Valentine's Day, so it's time for another relationship advice video. So, first question is not advice per se, but perhaps thoughts on dating fasts that seem to be popular. I think this was asked by a guy, so I think from a male perspective, if a girl's reason for not dating you is because she says she's like fasting from a relationship, that's probably a way to let you down easy. But sometimes it's totally sincere. They're wanting to get close to God. They're wanting to get close to themselves and understand themselves better and what they're really looking for. Or other times it could be they're trying to recover from maybe a long relationship that ended and they're not wanting to rush into anything right away. But if that's the case, then I don't think they'll say that it's a relationship fast. They'll probably say like, I just got out of a relationship and I just need to take a break from dating for a little while. Which I've done that. And I don't think I'd call it a relationship fast because I kind of still dated people. I just didn't get into a serious relationship because I knew I wasn't ready for that. But I also know some people who, so it depends, you know, like on the type of person it is that's telling you they're doing a relationship fast, because certain people are so sincere and they really mean it, and even if the person that they want to marry comes along, they're gonna be like, sorry, my year ends in whatever, or my 6 months, or my 3 months, or my 2 years. Because I know couples like that too. I'd expect the worst, I think, though, if someone rejects you under that premise. I'd be like, probably not interested. I'm gonna let that ship sail. And then if they ever reach out after their year, but I'd say the ball's in their court and no longer in yours. So I hope that answered that sort of question. Next question is, so I'm dating this girl that's way out of my league and she hasn't figured this out yet. So what do I do to keep her from finding out, running out of ideas? I'd say that this is a great sign, because this way you'll never get lazy, because if you're sometimes the person with like the upper hand, you might get a little lazy. So I'd say just keep on telling her that she's smart and pretty and athletic and beautiful and awesome, and keep taking her on dates, and yeah, I don't know, keep surprising her. I'd say keep things exciting. Some people are like, oh, you gotta be kind of chill, you gotta be kind of aloof because she's way out of your league, so you gotta be like, yeah, whatever, I'm cool too. But I think that that's a bad idea all the time, and I always think that it's better to continue to kiss her butt forever. Happy wife, happy life. Hey, Carson! So, this question I am super qualified to answer. How do you make Valentine's Day special when it is also your anniversary? Oh, and you've been married for 30 years, asking for a friend. Well, obviously, I have a ton of experience in long-term relationships. I've definitely been in a relationship for over 30 years, so I really know how to keep things spicy. I obviously am not qualified to answer this question, but thank you for asking. Valentine's Day is my half anniversary with my fiance, so it's also double whammy. I will say, I'll tell you what I do know in the little experience that I have. A, having the excuse of having an anniversary on Valentine's Day makes Valentine's Day better, because you can be like, oh, what, no, I don't believe in like stupid Hallmark holidays, like it's just a money maker. But then if you secretly are like, you kind of like Valentine's Day, I'm like, you know, just want to be a cool guy who doesn't get all excited about Valentine's Day, but I actually think it's really fun. And not for romantic reasons. My mom is just really good at holidays and makes everything fun and everything special. So I love celebrating every single holiday, including Groundhog Day and May Day, because my mom is awesome and really fun and helped me think every holiday is the best ever. So I think it can help to have that perspective, to just be like, this is silly and fun and not a ton of pressure. Similar to my last advice, try to do something surprising, but I assume that after 30 years, it might be hard to come up with new ideas and new surprises. This year for Valentine's Day, Alex and I did a thing where we did like a countdown to Valentine's Day, and every single day we had to do something different, and it was usually really easy, like make root beer floats, or sing each other a song, or write each other a nice note or letter. So that might be kind of fun to do something like that. Now this is coming out on your anniversary / Valentine's Day, so it's too late for that. But you could do a countdown to March. You could go reverse and be like, days since our anniversary, hooray, it's over. This was not helpful at all. I don't know how to keep things spicy for 30 years. Come back to my YouTube channel in 30 years when YouTube doesn't exist anymore and we're in some type of, you know, apocalypse. But maybe somehow this will still exist. You'll go to an old library with an old computer and somehow there's internet or whatever we'll be using in 30 years. It'll be 3D. I'll be a little like, little Princess Leia thing, you know how she pops up? Little hologram, and I'll be like, I figured it out. I know how to keep things fresh after 30 years. Oh, see, 30 years. Wait until 35 to 40 years, and then I'll tell you if I'm still alive and we still are in the nuclear family, because a lot can happen in 30 years. We may all be robots. It'll probably be because we've perfected things because we're all robots, and there will be no more love. That got weird. So, next question, how to spend Valentine's Day single. I have spent a lot more Valentine's Days single than I have in a relationship. I freaking love being single on Valentine's Day. And there's like the super kind of cliche, but still a good idea. You can always do a Galentine's Day, which is a great idea to like get dressed up and go to dinner or something with your girlfriends. But also, every restaurant ever is super packed on Valentine's Day, so I don't think I do that. So you could always hang out at home with your friends with like wine and pasta and cute movies or whatever. That's fun, but this is what I do. I'd wear pink or red or whatever, something Valentine-y, or hearts or something. I always got some chocolate from my mom or whatever. So I ate some chocolate, I'd wear something pink, because it's usually a weekday, so I'd go to school or work or, you know, but I'd dress up and look festive. And you know what? Honestly, that's all that it takes. I'd wear something fun, I'd have some chocolate, and then I'd go to school or work, and typically the majority of people, although online it seems like everybody hates Valentine's Day, when you show up to like school or work and it's Valentine's Day and people are friggin' stoked, it just would put me in the best mood ever. I just loved seeing people excited, and it just made me feel good. And a holiday always feels so much more fun than like a boring work day anyway, because people normally do something kind of festive. And so like I'm part of the people like contributing to festivities, that's really fun. And then other people who are, and just having a good attitude is all that it takes to me. And I think that that's really fun. But I've also done stuff too where I've been single and a huge group of my friends and I would all hang out, and you know, maybe we'd go to dinner or we'd all just go to somebody's house and just like have fun and hang out. And some of the people there would be in couples and some people were single, and it just wasn't about being in a relationship. It was just about freaking having fun and having a good attitude. And I really think that that is huge. And in a lot of ways, I had more fun on those types of Valentine's Days than I have doing Valentine's Day things in a relationship. Because usually that's just like, you go to a romantic dinner, or maybe like you make dinner together, you dress up, which is really fun to have the excuse to dress up and make dinner and stuff, but I honestly often had a lot more fun doing cool big group things with friends. So I don't know, maybe that's the thing to do, is just hang out with friends and make dinner and listen to funny music and make each other laugh. Have balloons. I don't know, everybody wears red. I don't know, I think you can just like have a party and do something really fun. Make some like Rice Krispie treats, because that's fun and easy, and put like pink on them. I don't know, I think it's really fun to just like give in to the gimmick. If I have any advice to give anyone, it's to just enjoy gimmicks, because it has made my life more full, and I complain about a lot less, and I get excited about a lot more things when I just give in and enjoy gimmicks. It's so freaking fun, because even if they're disappointing, you're like, it was so fun getting excited. So that's my advice. Get excited, who cares? Next question, how do you keep boundaries in a relationship, including physical boundaries? The number one most important thing about any type of boundary in a relationship, whether it's physical or time boundaries or emotional boundaries, spiritual boundaries, etc. My number one thing is to not compare your boundaries to another couple's boundaries. It's just going to make them impossible. And I think it's so easy to be like, am I a bad person or something because I like have kissed multiple people, or because I didn't wait to kiss people until I was engaged or married, or you know, whatever it is, more or less intense than that. And the answer is like, no, I'm not a bad person for doing that. And to me, you just set yourself up for failure, because you're trying to reach these impossible goals if you aren't in it. Like, if you can't explain a good reason for doing that, every boundary that I have set in my relationship, whether this one that I'm in now or ones in the past, I've been able to like really list off a bunch of reasons why they mattered to me and why we were choosing to hold those boundaries. And that to me is like the litmus test, because if your only reason is like other people are doing it, or because you think it's like the right thing to do, then I don't know that that's good enough. I really think that there has to be, in order to maintain and keep your boundaries that you have set, you have to believe in them and have to have multiple reasons for why you're doing them, or else it's just impossible. Another thing I would say about boundaries is that they shouldn't be made together, because I think it's easier to then compromise and be like, oh, I don't think I want to do that, but since they say they want to, especially if you're a little bit more shy or struggle with confrontation. Like, I know I just have a lot of anxiety about confrontation, and so it was something that I had to do beforehand to be like, here are things that are important to me, and I have to decide them all by myself and commit to it and not discuss them with anyone, you know? And then you bring them together and be like, here are our boundaries. And then if like you have some that are like a little different, then you have to talk about it, but you need to set them first, you know, and be like, this is what's really important to me. But yeah, so that's my advice. The huge things are, don't compare yourself to other couples. Really, really believe in the boundaries that you're setting for multiple reasons, not just because you think that you should or because people are telling you that you have to do these things, because all you're gonna do is have a relationship that's full of guilt and regret because you're trying to live up to a standard that you don't believe in. And that's just, and I get that sometimes like maybe in a past relationship, you realized different boundaries you needed to set, you know, whether that be time boundaries, like we spent too much time together and I suddenly didn't have any more friends, or, you know, maybe you went further physically than you were ready for, or whatever it is, whatever the circumstance. And then maybe you go into a new relationship and you're like, dang, it's gonna be really hard to maintain these new boundaries because I've already crossed the line in the old relationship. So then you might have to make stricter boundaries that are more like balanced, where it's like, you can't make them impossible, And you have to give yourself grace, because if once you've, I don't know, done stuff in the past, whether that's like spend all your time with someone or gone far physically or whatever it is, like it's a lot harder to go back. So then you might have to set stricter boundaries or figure out more than just like, well, I've never done this and I've never had any trouble spending too much time with someone or something. But also that's where there's gonna have to be a lot of grace, because the last thing you want is to just feel guilt and shame and fear, and it'll end a relationship. So setting realistic goals, realistic boundaries, being true to yourself, doing what you really, really believe in, not comparing yourself to others, and also knowing that we can't think of, I know the term boundary implies kind of like, well, there's a line. It's not as straightforward as that, because not everyone's gonna have the same boundaries, and a lot of that stuff is so much more a heart issue than it is a line. And it's just like, what is true? What do you believe in? What do you care about? What's important to you in the relationship? And not letting it be about trying to be just as good as another person. You know you the best. And the key is just don't set unrealistic boundaries. And the boundaries that you do set will be realistic. You know that a boundary is realistic when you really, really believe in it. And then I almost would say that it's easy to fulfill, because you're like, I believe in this so intensely that even when things get hard, I'm not wavering, because I so intensely believe that this is the right thing to do. And that would be my advice. And that's what's worked really well for me, to be like, I really believe in the boundaries that I'm setting for my physical relationship, my emotional relationship, my spiritual relationship. And it's also remembering that there are more than physical boundaries, and that you need to just figure out, because everything is related, your emotions and your spirituality and your physical boundaries, they're all connected and everything's related, and you need to figure out where you lie on all of them, because they all really matter. And intimacy is more than sex. My next question is how to survive long distance. I have not really had to do long distance. The closest I've gotten to long distance is he was in Thornton and I was in Boulder. So those are both states in Colorado, cities in Colorado. Oh wow, those are both Colorado cities if you aren't from here. Yeah, so that's the way that we made long distance in that way work. Was we had some, like, we went to a Bible study together on Thursday nights. We hung out all weekend long and then talked and texted and called during the week. And then just from what I've heard from other relationships and friends who, I've had friends who've had significant others in other states. I have friends and acquaintances with relationships in other countries, and from what I know of them is they Skype a lot, they talk a lot. An important thing is to still have a life outside of them, because it's hard and it's sad and you just want to be with that person. So learning to have a life outside of them, learning to really trust each other. I think trust is probably the most important thing in a long distance relationship, or any relationship, obviously. But you have to still let your significant other be a person with a life, and you have to let yourself be a person with a life, or else you're just going to be sad all the time. And I think that's where I messed up, even in my long distance relationship that wasn't long distance at all. We were still in the same state, just in different cities. The thing where I failed in that is that I did not have my own life. I just was like, I have my boyfriend, we hang out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that's enough for me. And I made no friends, and I was so sad all the time. I just hung out by myself. I just went to class, did homework, and that's it. And I didn't do anything else. And then that's it. And I was bummed out, and I had no friends, and I don't know. I lost myself and things that made me me, and then our relationship failed. And I'm sure a lot of it is because I didn't have things that made me excited, and yeah. So that's just from not even a real long distance relationship. So I can't even imagine how hard it is to be in an out of state or out of country long distance relationship. But yeah, I'd say trust each other, encourage each other to find hobbies and have a life outside of each other. Skype, text, talk on the phone. Technology's awesome in that way that we can still be connected even though we're in different places. Another question is, how do you break up with someone who's a good person but a horrible partner? Also, I'm close to their family and I don't want them to hate me. My significant other is genuinely a good person but a horrible significant other. They never pay attention to me or seem happy to see me, and I don't feel like they're listening to me. I can tell that their intentions aren't mean, just not a good partner. And how do I bring it up without sounding like a spoiled brat? First of all, you are very, very much allowed to want attention. So even from my experience, I have absolutely been in a relationship where I respect the person, I care about them, I think they're genuinely a good person. And like, if anybody else asked me about them, I'd be like, heck yes, he's amazing. And I would have like nothing bad to say, other than I felt similarly in that relationship where I was like, I don't feel like he likes me, you know, as a human. And where it was like, it wasn't like I ever felt disrespected. It's not like he was mean to me. He was always really there for me still, but it's like, he didn't like the same things I liked. He didn't want me to talk about the things I liked. He maybe even was kind of judgmental of some of the stuff that I liked. And I just kind of felt like overall I couldn't be myself. And it's not that he was controlling, it's not that he was ever mean to me. He was like a really, and is a really great person. We just weren't that compatible. I don't think he cared about the stuff that I cared about, and I don't think I cared very much about the stuff that he cared about. And it took me a long time, but I was like, I can't be in this relationship anymore. But I was like so in love with his family that I was so freaked out about breaking up, because I almost stayed in it just to be with his family because I loved them so much. And I didn't want them to hate me when I thought that they were the best people on earth. But I also was like, this guy doesn't even like me as a human, but he's not gonna break up with me. So what do I do? Basically what I did is I wrote out kind of what I wanted to say. I took a few days to really think about it. I talked to like 2 or 3 really close friends who I knew would have different perspectives, who I really trust. And they also did not know him, so that was good too. So I knew that they weren't gonna tell him or anybody that we knew, because that wasn't the point. I didn't want to gossip. I just wanted advice from people who I trusted their insight and their wisdom and their life experience. And I just knew that I needed to be respectful and kind and compassionate. So after talking to some people with different ideas, and kind of reflecting and thinking about it for several days and really crying about it, because it just was hard, and I was like, and I was scared, and I didn't want to make anybody mad. I didn't want to hurt anybody. I feared some confrontation, and I kind of wrote out what I wanted to say, and just to be like, I really care about you. I really respect you. And I tried to avoid cliches, you know, but basically ended up calling him and being like, I didn't want him to come over thinking that we were gonna have this great time when I actually have some really hard stuff to say. So then I kind of said like, I don't think we should be together anymore. I just think that we're too different, and even though I really care about you, it just is too hard and doesn't feel realistic. I think we want different things. And we hadn't even said I love you, but I was like, I love you so much, as a person and I respect you. But I think being vulnerable and being emotional and sincere, you don't have to cry, but just being like expressing how that it isn't out of irritation, but that it's just like, I just want the best for us. And I told him, I was like, I just think that there's sincerely someone out there who's gonna understand you better and support you better and help you shine. And I don't think that that person's me. I don't think that I love you in the way that you deserve to be loved. And I want that for both of us. I think we both deserve to be with people who see us more clearly than we see each other. And I think that's the way to do it. I think it's good to be vulnerable, to be humble, to be honest, because I've also broken up with people and been a little too vague where I've been like, oh, yeah, you should, I wasn't like, it's not you, it's me, but kind of, you know, where I was like, I just need to like think about some things and blah, blah, blah. I just need to like take some time getting to know me better, you know? And then they thought like, oh, we're taking a break and we'll get back together later. And it was like, no, I was breaking up with you forever. But so be honest and be kind, because there's a way to do both. And that doesn't mean that he's gonna like take it really well, but he might. Like in my situation, like he and I both cried, we hugged, and then later as time went on, there was a little bit of anger, but that's kind of a natural part of the grieving process anyway. So don't be surprised if there's anger in the moment or anger later, or never any anger. Everybody's a little different, but I think that that's the way to do it. Be vulnerable, be honest, be sincere, and be kind. And be ready for any type of response. And you know, as always, if in any situation you don't feel safe with someone, then do it in a public place and maybe even have someone nearby that you can call if you need to. It doesn't sound like that's your situation. It sounds like your partner's a good person, just isn't the right person for you. So good luck. That is so hard. Also, slightly related to this question, if you were like wanting to stay with someone, but you felt like they didn't give you enough attention, one of the best things I've ever learned in my life is to just ask for attention, and not in like a gross way and be like, I need attention, but just in an honest way where you're like, hey, I am really needing some like quality time, some attention, I need a hug, and just ask for what you need. That has been such a blessing in my current relationship where, you know, be respectful of what they're doing. Like if they're doing homework or doing work or doing something else, it's okay to be like, hey, when you're all done with blah blah blah, can we like, what, can I have a hug, or can we talk, can we, whatever it is that you're needing. You're allowed to ask for attention. You are justified, and you're not spoiled, and you're not selfish. You are allowed to ask for what you need. And it's not silly to want attention. It's not silly to want a hug. That is okay. So just know that for anybody out there, because that has been super valuable. Your partner is not a mind reader. They don't know that you need a hug. They don't know that you need attention. Only you know what you need. So again, open communication. Just tell your partner what you need. And our final question is relationships. How do? Wow, who knows? Relationships are so hard, whether they're romantic relationships or friend relationships or family relationships. They are so hard because we as humans are so selfish, and it is so hard. It is so hard to tie yourself to other human beings who have different wants and needs and likes than you. But I think a huge key to making a relationship work is super honest and open communication, even when it's not polite. You know, like you're not gonna be able to say everything politely. You can say everything respectfully, but you can't always say everything politely. Being honest and open all the time, always communicating your feelings. You don't have to say every single thought, you know, because there are things that I think are okay to keep to yourself. But if it affects your relationship, You gotta be honest and communicate. Trust is huge. I cannot imagine being in a relationship and questioning their motives or their loyalty or what they're thinking. So I think trust is huge. Thinking the best of each other and always assuming the best is huge. I'm reading a ton of like marriage books right now, and something that was really impactful to me was that even though yes, a relationship takes teamwork, that one person in the relationship can set the whole tone. And if one person every single day with consistency is setting a tone of love and respect and openness, then you can create a more loving relationship. And now there's obviously exceptions to this rule, because there are obviously abusive relationships, and in that case, you know, don't go into a relationship thinking that you can change someone, especially an abusive partner. And this goes for romantic or family or friendships. But as far as like, you know, a relationship with two people who are relatively well-intentioned and relatively respectful and, you know, not verbally or physically abusing each other, it's really true that I think one person can set the tone of waking up every day and being like, what can I do to make this person's life better? And hopefully they'll start to realize this and be like, oh my gosh, what can I do every single day to make this person's life more meaningful and better? I got that advice from a man in his 80s who's been with his wife since he was like in his 20s. So he's been with her forever. So I take it that that's pretty good advice. Is every day wake up and ask, how can I make this person's life better? Without the intention of them ever doing anything for you in return. And any nice, normal person will see this and desire to do the same for you. So that's huge. Okay, that's it for this year's relationship advice video. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you liked this, and if you want to see more videos like this, feel free to go to my Facebook page or my Twitter or my Instagram. If you have other videos that you want to see, or comment below this video and let me know if you need advice on school things, work things, friend things, family things, anything you want. Let me know if you like this and if this helped, and if you need any other advice, because I love doing this stuff. So yeah, thank you. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy general time of the season. And I will see you guys later. Bye.